Hey everybody, this is Drakios, and in this video I'm going to give you some tools and tips to help you use my buddy Nightwing to his fullest potential. Okay, before we get started, let's get some red tape out of the way, so to speak. First of all, these are the inputs I'm going to be using for this video. It's pretty basic stuff. If you've ever seen my other videos, it's pretty much the same thing with some slight twists. Also, if you notice down here, you'll see a HUD. This is the HUD I'm going to be using to display the actual inputs as I go through the video. And it's pretty distinctive. You should be able to recognize it easily. One more thing. Here's a table of contents. This is just a quick list of everything I'm going to go through. If you'll notice, each one of these is a link. So if you want to use this video as a reference point to help you out in the future, you can easily get to each part just by coming to this portion and clicking on everything here. Also, you'll find a link to this portion in the actual video description below. Okay, I'm just going to go through a quick character summary to give you an idea of what Nightwing is all about. So for those of you who are still sitting on the fence about playing him, you can make your decision based off of this. Nightwing is a character that specializes in versatility. He can play a good rush down, pressure game, as well as a good defensive control game. In exchange for his versatility, Nightwing doesn't have as much of a damage game as some of the more super characters. But that's not to say that Nightwing doesn't have a good damage output. That's just to say that with Nightwing you won't be doing one combo to actually come back from a really bad situation. However, with using his versatility, you can do a bunch of mix-up combos that get a consistent amount of damage and pull it back the same way. When using Nightwing properly, you will find that you always have a tool available for you to handle any situation. I have to say that Bruce did one hell of a job training Dick, because he is ready for any and every eventuality. Alright, let's go over some basics. And by basics, I mean this. This is Nightwing's move list. And for those of you who are familiar with MK9, this should look relatively similar. In this game, just like in MK9, each character comes with a set of combos, which you would use as building blocks to create more advanced combos. In this section, we are going to take a look at these combos listed here in the actual combo list, as well as a few of the basic attacks, which later on we will find are highly invaluable. In my opinion, though others may disagree, the combo system presented in this game is more akin to that of a 3D fighter like Tekken than other 2D fighters, in that it is more important to know what a combo does and how it interacts with the opponent than it is to just know the inputs. In order to give you a good idea of how each of these moves should be used, I'm going to classify them with 4 distinctive types. It can be argued that these moves can be classified into more types, but for our purposes these 4 should suffice. Although it can be quite beneficial to know the ins and outs of each and every move, so if you ever feel that your game has plateaued, coming back and studying each and every last combo in greater detail would be quite beneficial. The first classification we have is speed. This classification is pretty self-explanatory. These moves are the fastest, and therefore they are quite useful at punishing the opponent after a combo, as well as stopping the opponent when they start with a slower move. Next we have range. These are moves that extend further than the character's normal reach, or actually move the character forward so that he can reach further than he normally could. These moves are quite useful when the opponent has done an attack that has pushed the character back, or when the opponent is open and just slightly out of normal reach. Then we have my favorite category, mix-ups. These are moves that hit either overhead or low, and are pretty good when used inconsistently to punish an opponent for improper block choice. Lastly, we have push. These are moves that hit with enough force to push the opponent away. These are pretty good if the opponent blocks your attack, as the pushback effect will usually create enough space to allow you to not be open at the end. However, when you hit the opponent with these moves, it generally knocks them a distance away, so it limits your combo capabilities. What I'm going to do now is just show you each combo. First, you're going to see the actual combo with the inputs in the HUD that I mentioned earlier, and then you will see the combo repeat with the classifications that I just went over. Try to remember what I said about each classification and how they work while reviewing these combos. We'll actually talk a little bit more about it when we reach the more advanced combo section. Many of you may have noticed as we went through that Nightwing fights using two different styles. The first style, the Screamer, focuses on speed with a handful of mix-ups here and there, while the second style, the Staff, focuses mainly on range and mix-ups. It's not really that good with speed, so it's not really that good at point-blank range. Next, we're going to take a look at special moves. As is the case with all 2D fighters, it is highly important to know how to use and when to use special moves properly. In the case of Nightwing, just like with the combos, he has various special moves for each of his stances. We're going to take a look at the Screamers first and then go into the Staffs. First up, we have Nightwing's Ground Spark. This is a projectile that travels along the ground and hits low. It is important to note that this projectile is quite slow on startup, so doing it at point blank range is somewhat risky. It, however, can be held and dash cancelled out of when holding, so you can both delay this projectile to cause confusion in your opponent, as well as hold it just to give your opponent the idea that you are about to shoot it when you are not. Burning the meter with this move increases its size and its damage, as well as grounds the opponent if it lands. Because it grounds the opponent, this can be quite useful to allow you to close the gap between you and your opponent when they are trying to play a long-range game. Next up, we have the Screamer Fury. Because this move launches the opponent in the air and does a good deal of damage, it is excellent as a combo extender. With a meter burn, this move will do more hits and take more damage. However, this greatly limits your combo potential and is only preferable in select situations. You should be wary of using this move raw, that is without a hit confirm, as it does leave you open on block. Next up, we have Nightwing's Flip Kick. This move is a overhead and will often cross up your opponent if they are close enough to Nightwing when you start it. On meter burn, this move will ground bounce the opponent, thus making it an excellent combo starter. Also, this move is an excellent wake up attack because of the combo starting possibility from the meter burn, as well as the cross up capabilities of the move in general. Now let's look at Nightwing's Wingdings. As you are in the air, the Wingdings hit overhead and they get a good deal of damage, especially if all three of the Wingdings hit. On meter burn, Nightwing throws a fourth Wingding, which will ground the opponent, and just like the Ground Spark, allows you to close the gap if the opponent is trying to play a good distance game. The Wingdings are best used at the end of combos to increase the overall damage of the combo. Last up for Nightwing's Screamer specials is the Scatterbomb. This acts as an anti-air for Nightwing. It does travel on a short distance, so it requires excellent timing when used, but its high priority makes it an efficient anti-air. On meter burn, the size of the explosion is increased and it allows for small combo opportunities afterwards. Okay, now let's go over the Staff specials, starting with the Ground Blast. The Ground Blast acts like a projectile. It attacks the opponent directly beneath their feet and hits low. It actually hits slightly off the ground, so jumping opponents can be hit by it as well, and they tend to free fall right back to the ground. On meter burn, the Ground Blast will knock the opponent up with a second Ground Blast after the first one. This allows for greater combo possibilities. This move is somewhat of a long-range projectile for Nightwing, though you should not get complacent with it, as Nightwing does not fare well in a shootout. This move is best used to allow Nightwing to stammer or ground the opponent and get back in. It should also be noted that with the Staff, Nightwing just needs to be at mid-range distance to be an effective opponent. Next up we have the staff spin. This move is the most useful of Nightwing's staff special moves. This move gets a good deal of damage as well as a good deal of chip damage on block, and is extremely safe for Nightwing when blocked. This move is an excellent wake up as it hits both a little in the air and a little behind Nightwing as he spins the staff, and like I said, it gets a good deal of chip damage. On meter burn, this move actually knocks the opponent back against the wall, and though the wall bounce effect has been removed from the move since the original patch of the game, it still has some interesting features in a corner only situation, which we will look at later. Lastly, we have the Flying Grayson. This move is quite distinctive as it has no meter burn version. This move launches Nightwing forward through the air and actually acts as an effective anti-air. However, it cannot avoid projectiles, so it must be used cautiously. This move effectively closes the gaps for Nightwing, but when it lands, it pushes the opponent back and knocks them to the ground. This time can be used to close the gap manually using dashes as well. Well, now let's take off the kid gloves and get into the advanced stuff, starting with the Screamer combos. Let's start with a basic yet highly efficient combo. This combo is meterless and gets a good deal of damage, making it quite useful. We can increase the damage output of this combo slightly with a few modifications. However, this version of the combo will only work if the opponent reaches the corner before the final jumping heavy at the end. As you may have noticed, I'm starting this combo with the 4 medium light heavy combo. Generally, the heavy portion of this combo has 2 hits, and the second hit will launch the opponent into the air. What I'm doing is canceling on the first hit into the Screamer Fury to launch them in the air instead. The Screamer Fury does a good deal of damage and is actually a more preferable launcher to use with Nightwing. Nightwing does have quite a few moves that do launch the opponent into the air, but in most cases the Screamer Fury will work better. The reason I'm starting it with that combo in particular is to increase the damage output. It actually gives the combo 1 or 2% more damage at the end, and although that seems menial, if you're ever in a situation where the match is decided by 1 or 2%, you'll be glad that you were using that combo. Now let's look at an alternate way to start this combo. You notice this time I started the combo with the back light combination. This combo is actually a range combo which moves Nightwing forward, allowing you to close small gaps and take advantage of enemy openings when they were slightly out of normal range. Here's another alternative.
Stick around. Stick around.
This one I started with the crouching light. I use it for just as ankle biting, as this crouching light is a speed attack. In fact, it is Nightwing's fastest attack. Using this crouching light, you can take over enemies' attacks when they are slower, as well as take advantage of very slight openings. This is quite a difficult thing to start up, however, because the Screamer Fury will leave you vulnerable if blocked, so you have to register a hit confirm from this small crouching light before you do the Screamer Fury. Also, you should note that the ankle bite is actually a medium hit, not a low. In the Screamer stance, Nightwing actually cannot start any combo with a low. He does have a few lows that clip the opponent and can be used as mix-ups to confuse the opponent, but none of them can go into an actual combination. Let's take a look at a different combo. You'll notice that this combo starts with an overhead and does not get as much damage as the previous combo, but it does get a decent amount of damage and can be used to punish a crouching opponent. We can increase the damage on this combo slightly by using a meter burn on the Screamer Fury. Here's another combo that starts with an overhead. This combo starts using the flip kick and requires a meter burn to do. It has an added advantage of potentially crossing up the opponent depending on their distance from Nightwing when you start it. This combo can also be increased in damage using a meter on the Screamer Fury, but that would use 2 meters in one combo, and the amount of damage that you would get from it is not really worth it. It is important to have combos prepared off of the back heavy wall bounce and the forward heavy ground bounce, because these two moves on a meter burn actually give you super armor and allow you to take one of your opponent's hits and punish them for attacking you. Here are 2 combos you can use off of those moves. As I mentioned earlier, the Scatter Bomb is a decent anti-air for Nightwing, although it does require critical timing. And on a meter burn, you can do a small combo off of it. Here is one such combo. While in the Screamer stance, you want to make sure to take full advantage of your wing dings and ground spark when the situation calls for it, as well as mix up your overheads and lows in order to sow confusion within your opponent. Alright, time to switch things up. Nightwing's staff is more of a defensive stance and mainly focuses on small mix-up combinations. However, there are quite a few combos that can be done in this stance, but they generally require meter to do. This stance is quite meter heavy, so you might just want to use small mix-up combos in it, but if you do find the opportunities, these more advanced combos will be quite useful. You'll notice that I started that last combo with a crouching light. This is Nightwing's fastest attack with his staff and is your best bet in a close range situation. It is important to note that the jumping medium in this stance has extremely high priority in the air and can be used to knock the opponent out of the skies. Once that is done, you can do a combo off of it. Here is one such combo. Using a meter burn on the ground blast will launch the opponent into the sky if it lands and allow you to close any gaps. This can also be an excellent combo opportunity depending on your distance from the opponent. Here are some examples. Just as with the Screamer stance, it is important to have combos off of the wall bounce and ground bounce. Here are some examples of such combos. With enough meter, you can get some pretty high damage combos with the staff. However, it is more of a control tool. It is best to rely on its range and mix-up opportunities to confuse the opponent and keep them down while you nickel and dime them to their defeat. Now let's look at some corner-only combos with both the Screamer and the staff.
Stick around!
the Screamer stance, these combos either require more meter use or extremely precise button presses to land for only a slight increase in damage, which makes it extremely hard to argue the benefits of their use. However, when using the staff, these are some of the best combos that you can do, and although they do take meter as well, as I've stated before, the staff is a meter heavy tool, so using these combos is quite beneficial. It is also important to note that many of these combos with the staff are using the staff spin with a meter burn to get a slight wall bounce on the opponent that would actually leave him in play in situations where he normally would not be. One of the most advanced things with Nightwing is what I refer to as mixed combos. These combos start in one stance and end in the other, all the while continuing to hit the opponent. In order to do these combos, you must cancel out of the stance switch by using a special move in the next stance that you are switching into. Using these combos, you can interweave the staff's mix-up and control, which is Screamer's speed and damage output, truly utilizing the full aspects of Nightwing's moveset. Okay, let's look at some combos into Nightwing's super move.
Stick around!
Everyone loves these combos for their flash and pizzazz, but with Nightwing, it is quite difficult to argue the use of these moves because Nightwing's super move actually scales quite heavily. I would suggest only using these moves when you have the upper hand in a battle and you want some easily confirmed damage. Alright, I'm going to finish this off with a bang, quite literally actually, because now we're going to look at the use of stage effects and transitions in combos. These are actually quite difficult to do because they rely on an unstable element, but once you get them down, you will find that they are quite handy and quite useful in a battle. Well, that is it for my tutorial. Hopefully some of you have acquired some newfound appreciation from my buddy Nightwing here. Once again, this is Drakios, and yes, it is my PSN name, so if you wanted to hit me up, you can. If you've liked what you've seen, please remember to like us using the like button below. Also subscribe to the page for more like this, and you can check us out on our website, unboofightclub.com, as well as on Twitter and Facebook under Unboo Fight Club. I hope you guys have enjoyed this presentation, and feel free to leave me any feedback in the comment section below. That's it for me. Peace out.